Welcome to Rivetea, or welcome back if you have been here before. I'm your host, Longhair Linda, and I will be recapping the season 1, episode 2 of Love and Marriage DC. If you want to see my recap of episode 1, then you should be able to click somewhere on the screen if I manage to figure out the edit. Okay, so let's jump right into episode 2. Ashley and Monique are meeting up for brunch and want to catch up about Irena's anniversary party. Monique talks about how Chris hasn't held up his end of the bargain over their 10-year marriage, and she's saying this to Ashley, who asks Monique whether she and Chris experienced the 7-year itch, because Ashley did. Ashley felt like the 7-year mark, like around that time, Quick got to live his dreams and achieve his goals, and now it's time for her to do the same. Monique says the thing to see now is if Ashley will get that same support back now that she's spreading her wings. I've always found it interesting hearing from women who have married successful, well-known men, especially the ones that want to build their own names outside of the husbands. I always wonder if they let their husbands know at the beginning, at the start of their relationship, or if it's just that they're inspired by their husband's success throughout the relationship. I don't know if it's just something they're aware of at the start, or if they're inspired by it, and maybe they just naturally sort of start to feel unfulfilled, let's say, in the life that maybe they willingly entered into. I don't know. I always find that kind of dynamic quite interesting. Anyway, Ashley in her confessional says that she never felt like she had support from someone outside of her marriage without feeling like she was kind of complaining, and she's glad that she's got that with Monique. The ladies bond on how many people so it's interesting because the ladies are bonding on how many people it takes to help their husbands do just everyday jobs that mums are expected to do, right? So if it's them at home, there's no help for them. But if they are going away and it's their husbands that have to deal with the kids, raising the kids, dealing with the home, it's all of a sudden there's all this support that comes out, for them. Yeah, I have thoughts on this. I just think it's very unfair that the labor of holding down the home is on one parent, whoever that might be in your household, in whatever part of society you're looking at. I always find that to be, even if it's there's a parent that's a stay-at-home parent, that can still be alone difficult, right? Just that. But if everyone's working and everyone's trying to get stuff done, the expectation definitely still is on one person, and oftentimes it is the mother. So yeah. Anyway, so they're bonding about this. They're talking about how they don't want to seem unappreciative, but they want more from their husbands, which is, relatable. Monique invites Ashley and Quick to a vegan dinner that she wants to host, and they move on to the subject of birth control. Monique talks about her PO method, and how that's been working for her. Ashley talks about wanting to get her armpits Botox to stop sweating, and she also wants underarm lipo because her underarms look like coochies. We're taken to Quick and his manager / partner Sean, who have had a strong bond for over 20 years. The men are discussing upcoming projects when Julius Grant III walks in. He is a representative from CIAA, an organisation of basically a lot of HBCUs, and it's a tournament for basketball and football teams that hold parties usually in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now the tournament is coming to Baltimore, and Julius says Quick has to be a part of it. He's been working with them for 15 years already. Sean breaks down Quick's work schedule and talks about how Quick has worked himself into the hospital with exhaustion before. Sean is trying to protect Quick from himself, and Quick says that Sean is also protecting his own interests and wants to protect himself being cursed out by Quick's wife, Ashley. Monique goes to WBGC for a meeting. She was a guest before and is hoping that this meeting turns into a job opportunity for her. The morning show host, Todd B, tells Monique that she fits the mum type that they're looking for to co-host the new morning show. And Monique is excited to talk for a living despite having to be at work at 5 a.m. every day. Todd B says that he's not really sure if Monique will bring reality TV drama to the show, because that's just not what it's about. And Monique says she doesn't bring drama. She deals with it if it's brought to her. Monique is willing to organise her life around it and says in the confessional that she doesn't know if Chris can really handle it, but he's going to have to, just like she did for all these years. Fair play. Absolutely fair. Chris is meeting up with Kevin at a restaurant, and Kevin, if you remember, is Winter's soon-to-be ex-husband number 2. And Chris wants to get his side of the story, you know. Kevin says that while he was outside of the restaurant in the car, he just saw his divorce papers came through. Chris talks about how surprised he is because when they first heard that Winter and Kevin got together, Chris thought everything was so perfect. So here it becomes clear that Winter and Kevin were actually supposed to be coming on Love and Marriage DC as a couple. They were supposed to be another couple like the Tylers, the Silvers, the Samuels. Because we find this out because producers cut in a clip that looks like their audition tape, and it's gross, to be honest. Also, her hair was already shaved at this point. Wasn't there a point that like she did this because she's been going through something? I assumed that she's been going through something because of the split with Kevin, but her hair was already parted like that, so maybe she was going through something before she met Kevin and she was still going through it because her hair still looked like that. I don't know. Anyway, Kevin reveals that he had been accused of taking company money and using it to take their kids. Kevin has kids from a previous relationship. Winter has kids from her previous marriage. And so together they kind of have this blended family. So apparently he was accused of using that company money to take all of their kids to ice skating at almost the 1-year wedding mark between Kevin and Winter. And that was the first of a snowball effect of problems, basically. Now, the producers are a little bit shady here and just kind of fast forward and cut through what looks like ramblings from Kevin, and it covers things like bankruptcies and other money and lawyers and I don't know. Kevin says he was accused of love bombing his wife by their kids. I'm guessing it's her kids that said this and not his kids too, but maybe it was. And Chris says that he has the opposite problem in his marriage of not doing enough to, of the small things to show emotion, none of the romance stuff. Kevin breaks down and says that, he and Winter's youngest have a great bond and that his son is asking where Mama Winter is. It's really sad to hear this. But also, Kevin's not really giving me someone that likes the truth too much, like the kid stuff is very sad, and that's not to take away from what he was saying and how badly he may actually feel about losing Winter, but like I don't know if maybe it's the edit, but in this moment I'm watching it and I'm like, he doesn't sound like somebody who likes to tell the truth. Obviously all commentary on this channel is alleged. There is always going to be an allegedly somewhere. These are just my opinions. I don't know these people apart from what we've seen on TV. So, yeah. Quick and Jamie are meeting up for drinks with their friend Neil Lyon, a basketball coach. And the men ask Jamie about his business. And Quick says that drinks are on J&J Entertainment, Jamie Tyler's business. We find out that there will be a little bit of a friendly competition of events around the time that Quick will be on the CIAA tournament. Quick wants to know how Irena feels about Jamie being back in the nightlife sort of scene and whether she's insecure about how many women are around during events. Jamie reveals that Irena used to be insecure about other women, about, things like him liking pictures and things like that. But she's just happy with him, getting to the bag now. Quick says it takes a strong woman to be, married to someone that's involved in nightlife. I'd just like to add that it also helps if the husband isn't a cheater and doesn't disrespect his wife when they're out. I feel like respect works both ways, and if you don't want your woman out here acting like a fool, then don't act like a fool. Simple. At Monique's house, the vegan chef is preparing meatballs, or no meatballs, and this is all for Monique's vegan dinner party. Monique says in her confessional that she used to think vegans were crazy, but she's now on that journey herself and doesn't even crave bacon. The only meat she craves is her husband's, apparently. Thanks for sharing that. Monique is adding polish to her nails. Like, girl, will they dry in time? That's all I was thinking. She's there, like, this party's about to happen, and she's there painting her nails. I don't know if they were just like a gel polish and we just didn't see her put them under the LED, but that was all I could think of. I was just like, they're not gonna dry, sis. So she's adding polish to her nails, and this is while she's filling Chris in on her potential new morning show radio gig, and how he will need to be the one stepping up in the mornings with things like getting the kids ready. Monique says in her confessional that she is not one of those women that likes to say, my husband is like my fourth child, and wants a partner for a husband who protects and covers spiritually and emotionally. Chris lets Monique know that he met Kevin and he thinks he's a good guy. Monique tells Chris that Kevin is a swindler and that he swindled Chris just like he swindled Winter in the beginning. We're taken to Quick and Ashley, who have actually stopped by a seafood restaurant before going to Monique's vegan dinner. Quick says in his confessional that while Ashley is pescatarian or vegan, depending on the day that you catch her, Quick is not. It's a little shady, but I actually don't mind this. I don't mind that they went to get food beforehand because they were unsure if they'd like the food. They didn't know if they were going to be full, and it's just so much better to do that than to show up to the dinner party, be hungry, and then just be complaining the whole time. So yeah, go beforehand, that's fine. Ashley lets Quick know about her concerns about Quick, working on the CIAA tournament gigs, and mainly that he will work himself into illness, basically, and that she'll end up having too much on her plate with the kids and will have to turn down her own events that she wants to be doing. In her confessional, Ashley says, they're in like a vicious cycle, her and Quick stuck in this kind of thing where he'll work crazy for a year, he'll listen to her concerns, he'll slow down when she reaches her boiling point, and then make it up to her with like dinners and doing all this nice stuff, and then we'll go right back to working crazy for another year and they'll just do it all over again. Quick tells Ashley that she is appreciated more than she knows, and Ashley wants Quick to know that he is also appreciated. They talk about how they are friends, unlike many couples, and that they can be corny together. They seem like a fun couple to me, to be honest. They seem like they really enjoy each other. So I hope they can kind of continue to work on these kind of small issues, because it looks like there's a lot of healthy love there. It's really nice to see. Monique's vegan dinner party is underway, and I've lost where I am in my notes. Okay, Monique's vegan dinner party is getting started, and Monique is fussing at Chris about him flattening her pillows, which is kind of relatable content because she just made them look all good for the guests and he just laid on them and now they're all flat and she's gonna have to bump them up again, and I get it. Monique's friends Tasha and Neil Lyon arrive first, and Monique says that Tasha was her hairstylist when she was on reality TV previously, and they built a friendship over the years. Quick and Ashley arrive, and they decide not to tell anyone that they ate before. Fine. Irena and Jamie arrive, and Irena wants to know if DoorDash delivers because she doesn't eat vegan food. So you don't eat vegetables then? Fruit? Okay, girl. Winter arrives next, and Ashley says she's not sure that Winter is her type of girl in her confessional. Ashley likes to go out, stand on tables, turn up. She doesn't think that that's Winter, and that may all be beneath her. At dinner, Monique talks about finding out the real name of Africa being Alkebulan during her and Chris's studies to homeschool their kids, and that they want to go to Africa. I did a little research into this and found several sources claiming that this is in fact true, and that there are competing theories as to how the name actually got changed to Africa. I found an article on Guardian Nigeria, the link to which will be in the description, and it talks about like the mystery behind how the name was changed and the general consensus this online is that while the name change is a mystery, the original name for the continent was indeed Alkebulan. Now, I'm a dual citizen. I am British and Kenyan, and I've heard this name before, but I can't really tell you if it's an actual fact, even as an African myself. So if you're curious, please do feel free to research the topic for yourself. Anyway, Monique goes on to say in her confessional that she has never been to Africa and is a fan of teaching her children the truth. She loves her blackness and wants her kids to see where blackness originated and how beautiful the place is. Back at dinner, Monique says that they'll be starting with Kenya, woo-hoo, and specifically the Giraffe Manor in Nairobi. Jamie asks if that's where the giraffes are, and when Irena gets excited, I mean, what kind of question is that? Do you think there'll be giraffes at Giraffe Manor? I mean, I guess. Anyway, Irena gets excited and says that she wants to go there too. And Jamie puts his hand up and shushes her. Now, Miss Winter pulled the exact same face that I would have in that situation. Because, what? What would you, why? Well, just let people be happy. Let people enjoy things, right? Why are you shushing your wife like that? I don't know. That makes me uncomfortable. In her confessional, Winter says he is not drunk enough to be acting like that and it is just rude. Agreed, Winter, agreed. Jamie asks whether they'll be, whether they're concerned about the vid, and everyone talks about their experiences catching it and like what they went through. Monique says when she had it the second time, it was much worse for her because of the fatigue. She then goes on to say that no one was checking in on her, no one was feeding her. So of course, all the guests are like, what's up with that, Chris? Monique carries on by saying Chris used the excuse of wanting to let her sleep for basically neglecting her. My words, not hers. And Chris says, he's like, no. He stops everything and he's like, nah, I'm getting upset now. Like, I'm about to wreck this party. Chris says Monique always complains that she's so busy, doesn't get enough rest, and that a couple of times he would walk in there and wake her up out of her sleep and get yelled at for waking her up. I believe that. Monique then starts yelling over him at the table and says that was pre the vid, and he's basically confusing these two different instances. Chris is getting mad, asking Monique to let him talk. Monique carries on trying to clarify that he's got the timeline wrong. Chris insists that it's, no. Is it my turn to talk? Is it my turn to talk? Monique is like, go ahead. And Chris says, well then hush. Now, I don't know if Jamie put the battery in Chris's back with that little shush to Irena a few minutes before, but I would have been irritated too if I was Monique, because no, fine, she shouldn't have been interrupting him. I get that. She shouldn't have been yelling over him, shouldn't have been doing all that. But two wrongs don't make a right here, and I really wish that both of them would have just been a little kinder to each other in this moment, to be honest, especially in front of company. Don't be acting like that. It's too much. It's just awkward watching you lot getting into it. But anyway, Chris continues on to say that he was letting her sleep, but started checking on her as soon as she came to him and said that she wanted him to check on her. Chris doesn't want Monique to make it seem like he wasn't attending to her.
Once she came to me and said, no, I need you to check on me, this and that. I said, well, cool. So from then on out, you need anything, text me. I'm bringing it up. So we're not going to pretend that I'm not attending to you in that situation.
I didn't say you weren't attending to me. I said that y'all
roll the footage back.
This was just so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable. They don't even seem to like each other at all right now. I want to know what you guys think of this argument, because it was hard to watch for me. It just felt really, really uncomfortable. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do you think Monique was right for bringing it up the way she did? Do you think Chris was wrong for how he's responded? I'm genuinely curious to know. Anyway, Monique clarifies and gives Chris credit for switching the routine up when she brought it up, and Chris apologizes for getting heated and showing out. They kiss, they laugh, and they say that, hey, listen, their guests are married, they get it, they understand. Quick and Ashley say in their confessional that arguing like this is normal in a marriage and they will move on from it. I mean, I guess. Monique says she was expecting a psychology course from Jamie and Irena's anniversary party and walked away feeling like she had sex without the orgasm. Jamie says that they've been through a lot, and Irena has stood beside him through his BS from years ago. He goes on to say that they're in the best place they've ever been. Ashley probes a little further and wants to know, well, what's the BS then? Irena says the BS is related to what she thought was infidelity. Jamie being in the party scene with women all over him. In the confessional, Jamie said that these are battles they've already experienced in their marriage. They're dead, and Irena should basically zip it. Now they've been together a long time. They seem to be like mostly Jamie, but they kind of seem to be sort of more harsh with their words to each other from an outside perspective. But I can also see, I can see it being normal for them, but I can also understand why somebody would think that was rude. I would think that was rude, but I'm not in that relationship, right? So that's not for me to determine. That's for Irena to determine whether that kind of dynamic and the responses that she's getting from Jamie are rude. If she doesn't feel that way, then she doesn't feel that way, right? I will say though, Irena's face didn't look like she was too pleased with that little zip it comment, because I know I would not have been, but it is what it is. Back at the table, Winter wants to know how Irena pushes past indiscretions, and Irena says she never actually caught Jamie. It was more that she saw like the odd call from women and people coming up to her saying that they saw things. Irena then says that these women out here are terrible and aggressive and don't give a damn about a wife or anything. Jamie talked about how it's the party scene and tries to say that Quick should be able to relate. I don't know why he was bringing Quick in. He was trying not to drown by himself in this conversation, I think. We then cut to Quick and Ashley's confessional, where Ashley says basically that accountability is important and that your job cannot make you cheat. I absolutely agree with this statement. You have to take responsibility for your actions if you want to be able to move on from something. A lot of the time though, people kind of only want to move on by brushing things under the rug and acting like it never happened, but I don't know how the person that's been done wrong is supposed to be able to move on if you're not even taking accountability and responsibility for you. Like, how is that person, the person that's been done wrong, how are they supposed to heal? How are they supposed to trust you again if you're just sweeping everything and not really addressing the issue and not taking accountability and being genuinely apologetic and sorry for what you've done? Yeah, that's just my thoughts on that though. Irena wants to catch up on Winter's life, and Winter breaks down, that she's basically received her soon-to-be second ex-husband, Kevin, papers, I think. No, she filed the papers, but she found out, Kevin's company was being sued for millions of dollars and that Kevin's partners discovered that he'd been stealing money from the company. Alleged. This is what's Winter saying on the show. Kevin apparently then left to his parents' house, and Monique says to Chris, I told you he lived in his mama's basement. Winter goes on to say that she hasn't actually seen Kevin in 6 months, and Irena asks how long Winter knew him before they got married. Why did Irena have to ask this? Because this caused so many issues. Winter replies that they knew each other a year before they wed, and as a relationship coach, she asked all the right questions. I'm not trying to be rude, and I had these feelings before Ashley even said a thing. How does somebody with now 2 failed marriages claim to be a relationship coach? It's not like you've had a whole bunch of relationships and they've just not been successful and now you're in one, or what? A relationship coach? I'm just saying that you would not get my money for relationship coaching. If I just got married and I have just started something and we're seeking counseling to work through little things so that we can make it get through to the long haul, I'm not sure it's you that I'm coming to with 2 failed marriages. I'm just saying for me personally. Anyway, Winter says that during her checks, her and her family loved him. Monique adds that her and Chris have known Kevin for forever and drops the bomb that Chris had just had lunch with him recently. Winter did not look pleased. Monique goes on to say that Chris left that lunch confused because of hearing Kevin's story. He loves her, etc., etc. Winter says she's not leaving the marriage because of love, but because he was dishonest. Apparently, Kevin told Winter that he lived in a basement apartment before they got married, but it turned out to be his parents' basement. Again, what kind of checks were you doing, relationship coach? What are all these checks that you were doing as a relationship coach? That you didn't know where he lived? Even Ashley says, well, you didn't ask him. And Ashley says she wouldn't get into a marriage without knowing where the guy lived. I don't know why this is such a controversial thing that Ashley said, because that is common sense. Tell me in the comments, are you getting married to someone if you don't even know where they live? You've never been there. You've never seen it for yourself. Married? Anyway, Winter says in her confessional that Ashley is lucky that she now knows the Lord, because unsaved Winter would have something to say. Girl, what are you talking about? Ashley has said absolutely nothing wrong. She said the very common sense thing of, you didn't go to his house before you married him? Anyway, episode 2 ends there. We're going to find out the rest of what goes on at this vegan dinner in episode 3. But for this episode, I rated it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a good little setup for this series, and it did get a little juicier with this episode compared to the first. Jamie is interesting. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about him in this moment, because he does seem quite dismissive of his wife Irena, and I almost feel like I want to take up for her while I'm watching this episode. Quick and Ashley are great. They seem to, have the whole marriage thing down. They seem like they're great friends, and I feel like I'm warming to Ashley much more than I did in the first episode with the whole referring to herself in the third person thing. Monique and Chris, I just hope that we see them figure out how to communicate better, because it seems like Monique is very much scoring points against Chris, even in front of company. And Chris seems like he's made his mistakes in the past, but is genuinely trying to do better, and just kind of wants Monique to be a bit more patient and acknowledge his efforts sometimes. And I don't think that that's unfair, really. And Winter. I just have so many questions for you. I have so many questions for you already. I almost don't even know where to start, but I'll go with the 3 most important questions that came to my mind. Who is paying you for relationship coaching? What are these checks that you did before getting married? And why did none of them involve going to your husband-to-be's home before saying I do? And 3, why is your shaved side parted like that? Like, who did this to you? Who did this and told you it looked good? Anyway, let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments. Please, I would love to hear what you think. What did you rate this episode? Did it get you, excited about the rest of the season? Did it just make you feel like, it's fine? I want to know. Tell me everything. I'll catch you tomorrow when I recap episode 3 of season 1 of Love and Marriage DC.